Hello again, ladies and gentlemen. Sonic from SEGADriven.com here with more coverage of the Sonic Amateur Games Expo 2017. In this video we're going to be taking a look at Art of Running by Daniel Villena. Now, this is a rather interesting little thing, this. I think it's more of a better tech demo than it is an actual game. Not to say that it's bad by any means, but I just think that this is more a showcase for what it's... the engine that Daniel Villena, the developer, has made for this game. So the engine is called the Roll-N Sonic engine, and it's a pretty accurate take on 16-bit Sonic. You can tell that the biggest influence on this game is definitely Sonic 3 and Knuckles. The first forest stage is definitely sort of heavily inspired by Mushroom Hill, and the other two stages are basically upscaled versions of the racing stages from Sonic 3. So you get Balloon Park and Chrome Gadget, and they look really lovely. It's got to be said, I do like the idea of basically, you know, fleshing them out into full stages instead of just being like little racing circuits like they are in the original game. So nice little idea that. But otherwise, this is pretty much, you know, a like for like in the way that Sonic 3 and Knuckles plays. Same sort of shield, same sort of abilities. Same sort of sprites and artwork. Even though there's some custom stuff in here, it does remind you quite often of Sonic and Knuckles, and yeah, that's no bad thing. Like I say, this plays really well. I think it's a really solid engine. I think it's a very good facsimile of 16-bit Sonic gaming. So I think that it definitely, you know, achieves its goal in that regard. The reason why I say I think this is a better tech demo than a game is, like I say, I feel like it's showcasing how accurate the engine is more than actually being a fantastic game in its own right. The stages are a bit uninspired, basically because they're riffing on other stages from existing Sonic games. But so it would have been nice to see more original ideas in this. And even things like the bonus stages and the special stages, again, heavily inspired by Sonic 3 and Knuckles. The special stages are basically Blue Sphere. It's just that this time they're rendered in true 3D instead of sort of the, you know, faux 3D of the original. And the bonus stages are kind of based on the launcher from Sonic 3. It's just now you've got pinball flippers to muck around with as well. But yeah, very similar idea, but that just ever so slightly changing it to make it feel a little bit more original. Stage design's pretty good. I wouldn't say it's the best. It's okay. It's definitely got, you know, it hits its stride in the fact that I think it's got the nice sort of balance between a fast bit and then a platforming section and then a fast bit as a reward sort of thing. And it, you know, it changes between the two quite well. I don't think they're the best stage designs though. There's some real frustrating moments in this. One of the gimmicks I'm not a big fan of, the one that appears in Chrome Gadget, basically you've got these flamethrowers, and if Sonic gets set on fire, you start to lose your rings quite rapidly, and you basically need to find a basin of water so that you can like put yourself out. You can also put yourself out by collecting a fire shield, which obviously, you know, protects you from fire from then on. But yeah, it's a bit frustrating. There's one section in particular where you're sort of bottlenecked in by flamethrowers on either side, and then there's a spring that launches you into more, which means you have to work your way back down the chute to go and get into the basin of water to put yourself out. It's just frustrating. It's a cool idea, but I don't know if the execution is particularly too good in that one. But outside of that, I think, yeah, it was a fun thing to play. It's very breezy. There's the first stage is 2 acts long, and it includes a boss. Perfectly fine, nothing really to write home about there. It's very much riffing on Mushroom Hill, and does a, you know, fairly decent job of, you know, being enjoyable, I suppose. But it's just not particularly the most interesting thing in the world. It doesn't really have a lot of ideas of its own. Then we get Balloon Park, which, again, not too many ideas of its own, but I do feel like it's using the gimmicks from the original circuit quite well. It's nice to see them fleshed out into, like, you know, being included in a proper stage instead of just being on a little circuit. And the same thing with Chrome Gadget. I just think that flamethrower gimmick isn't the greatest thing in the world. it's a little bit frustrating to have to backtrack to go and put yourself out. And yeah, it's just one of those things. I just found it a little frustrating. It's not the worst gimmick. I just think its execution isn't particularly great. But yeah, there you go. That is Art of Running by Daniel Villena or Villena. Don't know how you pronounce that. So sorry, Daniel. An interesting little game. Like I say, I feel like this is a better showcase of Daniel's engine, which is a really solid thing, and it'd be nice to see what he does with it in the future. And I think there's room for improvement here. I think this isn't the worst thing at this year's stage by any means. It would be nice to see what Daniel can do in future releases, because yeah, like I say, I think there's a really solid engine back in this, and I feel like a little bit more tweaking with the stage design and maybe making everything feel a little bit more original would really set this off. So yeah, it's definitely something to watch in the future, this one.